Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about my first ever BFL I fished as a boater. That was back April 27th of 2013. Before I get into the video, if you guys would, if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Help the channel grow. We are getting up there. We're up over 500 now. We're getting closer to the goal. My goal by the end of February is the ultimate goal is 1,000 by the end of February. 750 is the second goal. Looking like we're on pace to hit the 750. We could get to 1,000 if you guys would share this with friends. If you see it on here, share it with your friends. Let them know the content that I'm putting out. That's the biggest thing. Share it on Facebook. Tell it to your buddies. Let's help get that content out there. If it's helping you guys, which from the feedback I'm getting, it's helping a lot of people out. Also, like the videos is a great way to support the channel. And then comments. If you have any comments, if you're liking the stuff I'm putting out, or if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments, guys. I'll get back to you. Or if you'd like to see anything, any videos, any more descriptions, anything I'm missing, let me know so I can get it for you guys, because this is supposed to be to help everybody find and locate bass everywhere they fish and everywhere I fish. For this instance, it will be on Stockton Lake. Okay, let's get into the video here. So this would be the MLF BFL April 27th, 2013 on Stockton Lake. This was my first ever BFL as a boater. My co-angler was Craig Rose, and he ended up in the top 5. He got his first trophy fishing with me that day. Craig probably remembers this day probably better than I do. It's been so long ago, but I remember a little bit about it. I ended up in 17th place. I had 10 pounds even. Was tied. Actually, I think it was a 3-way tie for 17th place. And then I caught him on a 5/16 ounce 2K Jigs Pro Shaky Head is what I call a Pro Zone Shaky Head. And I had a Big Hammer Salt Shaker Worm, a 5-inch in Red Pumpkin is what I was throwing. And my co-angler as well was throwing a Shaky Head. I was keeping the boat in 15 to 20 foot of water from my memories. I know we weren't fishing real deep. It might have been 12 to 20 foot. I think it was in that 15 to 20 foot range. I remember it was kind of raining that day. I think it rained all day, like a light rain. And I remember the areas I fished with. I can't remember where all the keepers were caught from, but I remember the areas we fished that day, and we were way off the bank. I fished off the bank. It was colder. The water temperature was in the 50s, the mid 50s, and I guess they were pulled out because, my best guess is because of the clouds. They were pulled out. But there was lots of fish out there. There was lots of fish. We caught lots of fish. I had 6 or 7 keepers. I know I had 6 because I made a culling mistake and I culled the wrong fish, which would have moved me up and actually got me a check. I was 1 ounce out of a check, and that would have got me it, but I made a culling mistake and culled the wrong bass. I threw the wrong one back. Like I said, it was my first BFL ever. I was still, what was I then, 20 years old. So it was many years ago. I'm 19. I forget exactly how old I was. Wasn't very old back then. It's getting time's flying by. So we were throwing shaky heads. He caught 4 keepers. I caught 6 or 7. Can't remember exactly. I know it was 6 for sure. Might have been 7. So we caught around 11 to 12 keepers that day. Okay. So the first picture here, and I was fishing, it would be over on the, I believe it's the Big Sack side, which is on the west side of the lake. You'll see in the picture here where it is. I'm zooming in there, and the red area will be the first area I'm going to talk about. The green area is going to be the second area I'm going to talk about. The blue area is going to be the third area I'm going to talk about, and the purple is going to be the fourth area I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to break it down, explain to you guys why the fish were where they was. Okay, so let's get into the first area, which was the red area. The red in this picture is the areas that I fished, keeping the boat in that 15 to 20 foot range from the best of my memories. The yellow is the main channel right there. That's the main river channel, okay? And then the green is the creek bed, the old creek bed, or what they call a ditch coming off that main river channel right there. And then the orange, that is basically routes of bass coming in and out, that basically they'd be coming out of their winter patterns, transitioning up to spawn. They were in pre-spawn during this tournament because the water temp was 53 or 55 degrees. And they were moving up from their winter spots to spawn, and these orange are those routes they will follow. Maybe this will help you guys looking at a contour map and how to understand this when going to a new lake. I'm going to show you a contour map and then also a Google Earth image of that so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like, water clarity, those kinds of things to look at on Google Earth in that picture there. Now the green area, that is the second area. The red, once again, in this picture is the areas that I'd fished in the tournament. And then the yellow right there is the main channel. You'll see the main channel there. And then the green coming off that main channel again is your ditch, okay? That's your ditch running back in there, your old creek bed. And then the orange, once again, is the bass pass. That's where they come from their winter patterns up to spawn. And they move up and down in the wintertime and feed. They also are there in the wintertime as well. The wind's blowing back. They'll be further back in them. The wind wasn't blowing that day, so they were pretty spread out. They weren't really congregated in one spot. Now, the third area, which would be the blue area that was circled. The red, that is where I fished, keeping the boat in that 15 to 20 foot range. The yellow out there, that's the main channel. And then the green, once again, in this picture, that's the ditch. That's your creek, your old creek bed right there. And the orange, that's the routes that these bass move up and down on. So hopefully this is helping you guys start to figure it out if you're new to fishing, or maybe you've been fishing a while and it takes a while for everything to click and for everything to go through. You've got to watch videos. You got to be out there fishing. You got to have this all explained to you to start for it to make sense. Some people they just go out, they get taught this from somebody that shows them all this stuff I have learned basically on my own and watching some other videos and from some other takes I've took in, but I've never got a whole lot of information from a lot of guys. Found out a lot of guys are real hush-hush about how they're catching fish, won't give you a whole lot, and it's hard to understand when you don't have those connections. So that's why my channel is here, to help you guys that, just like myself, didn't have those connections. And maybe I can speed that process up for you guys on catching the fish. That is what my channel is designed for, guys. Okay, so now the purple, that's the fourth area and the last area I fished that day. The red, once again, the red paths right there, that is where I fished. And the yellow, that's your main channel out there again. That's basically where they're at in the wintertime. And they're in these ditches, the green, the ditch going in. They stay in that ditch too all winter. They don't all stay out there in the middle of the lake, but the majority of them stay out there in that deeper water. Then they use these ditches to move in and out, up and down, up and down. They do that pretty much all winter long. Warms up, go back out. Springtime, they move up to spawn, then they move back out to the deeper water in the summertime. Some of them do. Some of them stay up shallow all year round, depending on the amount of cover up there. And then the orange, that is the pass they take off of that ditch up to spawn, up in those, if they come up in the bushes. These are also good areas. All these areas I'm showing you that are orange or pulling up in there, those are also good areas to go flip bushes, guys, because that is where they go up, and that's where the bait moves up to, and the bass follow those bait up into there. So hopefully this video helps you guys, and this is one of Stockton Lake. I know there's not a whole lot out there about Stockton Lake, especially breaking it down into the extent that I'm doing so, and I like to do it so in tournaments. I like to refer to it back to tournaments so you guys can see actually what the result was from fishing in these areas. This result was a 17th place in an MLF BFL in 2013. That was my first one ever. It was a very good finish. I fished really good that year about everywhere I went in 2013. I did really good I think it was 2012. I did good in ABA over there, and then also I think it was might have been 2011. I did good in ABA, and then 2012 I was leading in ABA on day one on Stockton Lake. I will get a video on that. Also, just pay attention on my um, YouTube, kind of scroll through videos there. You can find it in there once. It's not in there yet, but it will be in the future. So I'm just trying to get this content out there to help you guys. Like I said, the people that don't have the connections, that are trying to learn how to catch these fish, just go out and go fishing and try this kind of stuff here. And then go look at your contour maps and try to figure out what you can see and how that got patterned, and try to go do that on different lakes. And you can do this all over Stockton Lake. Once you get one lake figured out, you can pretty much do that all over that same lake, that same pattern. It just being in the right spot at the right times and finding those bigger fish is the key. I mean, I think it took 14 pounds to win this tournament. I had 10 pounds. It took, I think, 12 pounds for a top 5. So, I mean, I was right there. Just needed one more big bite, and that was it. If I'd have got the big bite, I would have been there and had it. I had the fish on to be in check range, 1 ounce out of the check range, 1 spot out of check range. Just made a culling mistake, which is very good that's just a normal rookie mistake. It happens. So now I make sure to pay attention to that. Always never take 1 ounce for granted, because I remember talking to Craig and I said, oh, well, it's just 1 ounce. What's 1 ounce going to hurt? Well, that 1 ounce, you see what that 1 ounce did. So it was a great time. That's one of my favorite tournaments I ever fished. We both threw the shaky heads, had a great time, caught lots of fish for my first BFL. As a boater, it was an amazing experience, guys. So hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of the story there of my first BFL. And hopefully I'll have some more videos up here shortly, and hopefully some good videos coming up this year in the BFLs. I'm fishing in the Okie division in Oklahoma. All right, thank you, guys.